Guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to a new video. We have three major events on the agenda. First one is the interest rate hike of the European Central Bank, which happens right now as I'm speaking. The second one is the CPI data, and the third one is a meeting of the Fed where they will most likely rise the interest rate. Now the first one is very interesting and very important because it's the first real major interest rate hike in Europe that we have not seen in a very long time. But it's also a very fragile one because the northern western countries are usually a little bit seen as stronger and can handle an interest rate hike much better, and the southern countries in Europe are usually a little bit weaker, like Spain, Portugal and Greece, and they are hit much more by an interest rate hike. Because if you would rise the interest rates in the United States, then from LA to New York the interest rate is the same, but in Europe that is very much different on the bond market because all these countries have their own rating and therefore their own interest rate. So that is a very difficult and fragile puzzle that I need to seem to solve. So and right now the futures are very flat and everyone is looking at it. We are right away going to dive into the chart because again I have some interesting stuff for you. If you like this kind of content, then please do me a favor, like and subscribe, click on the bell, click on all so you don't miss anything. Leave me a comment, share this video with your friends if you think that's useful. Also feel free to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, where I post multiple times a day and where I keep you updated about all these kinds of stuff. Now let's start diving into the charts, and we are starting off here with the BTC USD pair on the 1 hour. And as you can see, we're kind of stalled here at that 0.5 at 19,375-ish. We still have the golden pocket above us of 19,600-ish, where we also have the volume node, the value area low, the very macro one. But as I was updating my chart, and let me zoom out to the 4 hourly, and I extend this volume node and therefore also have the latest price action in that tool or in that indicator, then suddenly we see that the value area low is dropping to 18,900, and that is because of course now we have this latest dump in there, and first it was above us and it was therefore resistance here around that golden pocket, and we said yesterday, wow, that was so perfect, what a beautiful scenario to go higher and then resist from there and then just break down and go lower. But now it is support, so 18,900 right now is support for the macro value area low. Of course we still have the value area low of this more local price action, so that it still kind of comes together here at that golden pocket. So my target of approximately 19,600 to let's say 19,650 is still very much in play. If we break it, then I think around the 19,900, that has been the top of 2017, that has been support and resistance already hundreds of times, so that one is still very important to look out for. If we're going lower, not so super exciting. You know my targets. I want to see if we can break this low that we once SFP'd, so that is 18,600, shall we say. And then of course we have the ultimate low that we so far we put in at 17,600. Are we going to SFP it? Are we going to bottom out? Or are we just going to make a new kind of trading range? And then I think we can still see some movement on the value areas. So that's going to be very interesting to see. Nothing major so far. This was quite a nice move. You could have ride it out, but now it looks like we're stalling. It's going a little bit flat. Everyone is now just looking out for these major events that are going to play out, and people then probably rotate a little bit to cash because yeah, it's just a little bit unclear what's going to happen. I quickly want to go to the dollar index because we talked about this yesterday, and I also updated you on Twitter and said, man, this dollar index is really rolling over. All of this was yesterday and this now is today, so we are really seeing a big drop. And I said also yesterday that, well, this upper trend line is a little bit biased. You could say, well, you know what, we were in a channel actually the entire time, or we were in a rising wedge and then we just once had a fake out and then we went down. It doesn't really matter. The goal eventually was to break down, to go lower. Now the big question is, was this the top? Are we really going to top out with a double top, and are we going lower, or do we see another impulse up? That is actually what everyone is looking at right now, because the dollar is just dominating from front to back, from left to right. If the dollar is rising, then everything else is dropping. That's just now how simple it is. Stocks, crypto, gold, silver, it doesn't matter. I quickly want to move over to the S&P 500 on the small time frame, because this is interesting. Yesterday you have seen this. We are bouncing off the golden pocket, approximately 3,880 to, let's say, 3,900. We touched it once, twice, and then went higher. And then in this tiny move up, we went here above the golden pocket, 78.6, and now we're kind of stalling there. Interesting to see is, are we going to go higher? Then of course you want to see this high is taken out, and then we still have this bit of macro diagonal resistance line. Let me quickly zoom out to the 4 hourly that can come into play. That has been also support and resistance in the past, as you can see. If we are really dropping lower, maybe we will touch that golden pocket one more time. And if we are really nuking south, then I said it already before, I want to see us maybe kind of hold this support and resistance block where we kind of zigzag for a while. This is an important one. The inflation rate in the United States, CPI data, that is coming out next Tuesday. You bet that everyone is looking at this. I think it's going to be lower. As you can see, July was much lower than June, and I think now August is going to be again lower, so that we can say that inflation maybe have peaked out for now. Why? Because oil is a major component in this inflation calculation, and if we're looking at oil, then we can see that oil has been going lower again. And I have not touched this chart at all since last month. This is the chart that we're using for the recordings, as you can see, and we talked about it, how it went lower from the top here, approximately $130 a barrel, to now approximately 82. So we could say if we extend this a little bit, then we are already down 36%. But what I also find interesting is that if I zoom out on the monthly, then we can see that last month, so the month of August, oil dropped 9.6%, which is for oil quite significant. Now for September, we are already down 7%. So with oil dropping down so much, it is very most likely that we can expect that inflation comes down even more. And of course, we're talking here about the United States. They don't have an energy crisis like they have in Europe. So it is to be expected then, I think, that inflation is kind of flattened out, or maybe even lower again. And I think if that happens, we can see again a major move on the markets on Tuesday, and maybe then going down again, leading into the Fed interest rate hike, which is the week after on Wednesday. And of course I will update you in the meantime, because then everyone is expecting again a interest rate hike of approximately 0.75 for the United States. So that's going to be interesting to see. Like I said, again, now the futures are flat. You kind of know now still what I'm looking out for. Targets are not really changed compared to yesterday, but you see that the market now for the next 2 weeks is just very, very news driven. If you find this a little bit too exciting, my advice would be step away, don't trade it, let it play out, and then come back when the clouds are a little bit gone. If you like to trade this, again, then you know kind of the targets of what I'm looking out for. That will be it for now. If you like this kinds of videos, please do me a favor. As always, like and subscribe. Let's see if we can add a few subs. Also, leave me a comment or share the video just for once with a friend or a family if you think that this information is helpful. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram as always, where I update you, and see you guys very, very soon again in the next one. Bye bye.